What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another very important AMC update to bring all of you this evening. So what we're going to be covering in this update video is some really key trends that we've been seeing on the Ortex data. The key summary of it, the shorts have not covered at all. They are continuously increasing the short interest, trying to chase the price of AMC down, mainly around those strategic levels that have to do with options and trying to entice fear in the ape community. As we've seen today, we've bought the dip. We closed the day at $24.50, up 5.42% on the day. A very, very strong bounce back from the absolutely massive red day that we saw yesterday. Now, in addition to this, we also have to talk about this potential for a gamma squeeze coming up over the next couple of weeks and months, and specifically a little one coming up throughout the remainder of this week. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to do with hedging call options, but it more has to do with the vast amount of put options that are already in the money that with any significant price movement to the upside will shoot right out of the money, and the market makers will no longer need to have hedged those puts that they have sold. Now, getting into what we have going on tomorrow, we are going to have the FOMC meeting, the Fed meeting tomorrow around 2 or 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. We are going to be getting a lot of information from this. Now, although the market may have already priced in kind of what the Fed is going to be talking about, tomorrow is going to be a really big day for the market. We're going to be figuring out more information about what the Fed is actually going to be increasing the taper by, and if we are to expect more rate hikes coming over the next couple of years. This is really key information, and what we've seen out of the market over the last couple of days and weeks with AMC is that when the market starts to freak out, all of these shorts really like to come out and attack AMC. We've seen Cinemark have days around down 2%, while AMC is down above 10% on any given day. So tomorrow is going to be very pivotal. Now, before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. Now, coming over to Ortex here, let's just give this a quick refresh to make sure that we have the most up-to-date data. We have utilization 76.24%, but we saw the short interest really significantly move to the upside today. We have 19.41% estimated short interest. If you have been watching any of my previous videos, I was expecting this estimated number to get to over 19.5 by the end of the week. It is only Tuesday right now, and with the amount of shares that were borrowed today, we could still see this number continue to the upside going into the end of this week. Now, in addition to this, we are seeing the days to cover at around 2.33. We did also see a really, really high volume day today on AMC, 106 million shares traded. We have not seen that type of volume coming in on AMC in a while. So it is possible that even though a lot more shares have gone out on loan and most likely have been shorted into the market, the amount of volume that we have seen today could mess with that days to cover number and bring it down a little bit. Is this going to be the deciding factor on how aggressive the price movement to the upside is going to be next time when we see that price movement and some shorts are going to start covering? I don't believe so, but that is something that we do need to look out for. Now, let's get into this situation with the option chain. So we are going to be on SSR tomorrow again. It hasn't really helped us a whole lot in the past. Essentially, what it means is that the shorts can only enter short positions when the stock is moving up, so they can't pile in and start facilitating a more aggressive move to the downside when it's already moving down. But what I do want you to focus in on going into the end of this week is there's the most or around the most amount of put contracts that I have ever seen in the money on AMC. And in order to hedge those puts that the institutions are selling, remember from the last video, they short. So when you have a positive delta position, like when you sell a put, well, you need to find something that is going to make you directionally neutral. So you need to do something that is, or enter a position, a hedge, that is going to have a negative delta position. So what they do is these market makers, when they sell a bunch of these puts and they start to run in the money, well, they're going to go out in the open market and short shares. But with what we have with the Fed meeting going on tomorrow and the overall bullishness and bounce back that we saw with AMC today, again, we aren't out of the woodwork yet, but we are going to need to see some more buying volumes start to step in. But if we start to move to the upside on any good news with the overall market, the market starts to go on that Santa rally that we have all been expecting to happen. Well, a lot of these puts are going to run out of the money, and the market makers are going to unhedge, meaning that they are going to cover those short-term shorts that they've sold into the open market to hedge those puts. That is going to add a decent amount of buying volume coming back in. Now, again, the calls could end up starting to run in the money, but when we take a look at AMC's options chain for this week and we take a look at the call side, there's nothing too crazy that is jumping out at me until we get to that $30 mark, and then we would need to get all the way up to 32. So it's really going to be a focus on how many of these puts are we going to be able to get out of the money by the end of this week. Now, in addition to this, the Fed is also kind of under fire from a lot of the different actions that they were taking in 2020. There's been a lot of suspicious activity at the Fed with insider trading, and there's been this Elizabeth Warren letter that has been sent to Chair Powell. I am writing to follow up my earlier request that the Federal Reserve release additional information regarding its ethics scandal involving trades in stock, bonds, and other investments by Fed officials and the planned changes to the Fed's ethics and ethics practices you announced in response to this scandal. Given the paucity of information that you have provided to Congress and the public about trading by Fed officials and your response to these breaches by Fed ethics rules, it remains unclear if you have done enough to address this scandal and prevent the next one. I therefore ask you to respond in full to my request by December 13th, which was yesterday. So people are taking notice of a lot of the insider trading scandals that are going on in the market right now. Now, Unusual Whales was one of those Twitter accounts that was kind of really publicizing this situation with the Fed officials. One of them was Kaplan, and I forget the other name of the Fed official that really got in trouble for this. This is not something new. But mainly this year in 2021, well, we've seen the ape community really get loud about a free and fair market. So I don't believe that these types of actions from our government officials in response to all of these manipulative tactics and insider trading, they wouldn't have been possible without us. Now, let's get into what we have to look for going into tomorrow. 5 things to watch for when the Federal Reserve announces its policy decision Wednesday. This is going to be a big day because last time we saw Jerome Powell speak at I believe it was the House Financial Services Committee, they essentially said 2 really important things. 1, they were going to be essentially retiring the word transitory, and 2, they were going to be increasing the speed of the taper. Now, right here, could there be a dovish taper? Well, a lot of people are expecting that the taper is essentially going to be doubling. So instead of reducing the bond purchases by $15 billion a month, they're going to be reducing them by about $30 billion a month. Now, there are some people that are expecting this reduce the purchases to only go up to $25 billion instead of $30 billion. Now, what this ties into is market expectations. What we've seen out of the market over the last couple of weeks is a lot of volatility, a lot of choppiness, and honestly, a lot of downtrend in a lot of individual stocks. If the news about the taper comes out and it's at or below market expectations, so within market expectations, we could see a lot of bullishness come back in the market. In addition to this, we also need to look out for any forward-looking guidance on economic growth that the Fed is going to be putting out. So that is going to be this mentioned right here, goodbye transitory. Now, in the inflation situation, yeah, obviously it's not transitory. We've seen all of these statements that have been made by the Fed where they essentially said, no, inflation's not a problem. Oh, inflation's transitory. Then it was here to stay. Then it was, it's good for you. Now they have to come out and say, because they have to do something about this, that inflation is actually a problem. That is essentially what Jerome Powell is saying here by proclaiming that he's going to retire the word transitory. Now, when we think about inflation, if they can speed up the taper, well, they can get to the rate hikes sooner. Now, when we come down here, we might get an increase in the amount of rate hikes that we could potentially see going into the end of 2024. That would be slightly bearish, but if the market is already expecting that, then there really won't be that much of an effect on the overall market. So really what we're looking at here is a big day in terms of economic policy. What is the Fed going to say that could potentially move the markets? We've seen how the market is going to affect AMC going forward. And if on the off chance that we do see something wild come out from this Federal Reserve meeting and the market starts to sell off and AMC has another significant red day, what would we expect and what should our mindset be? What I'm going to be thinking is, well, I know the shorts are still piling into their position. I know this is just a broad market move that we are seeing and nothing has really changed. But on the other side, here's what could happen. The Fed could come out. Everything comes within the market expectations and the market starts to run up and we get that Santa rally. If we start to see that, AMC could go on a very substantial run into the end of the year ahead of the time that we are expecting to see some pretty bullish action. Sorry about that. If you guys were on the stream today, we had some problems with that phrase right there. On this January 2021 options chain right here, there's still already 107,000 contracts in the money with 394,000 contracts out of the money. I know some people don't really like to look at the options chain, but it is very important when looking at the previous times that we've had significant run-ups on AMC. So there are really two outcomes of what could happen after this Fed meeting tomorrow, which is why I've been talking about this December 14th and 15th date as being pretty pivotal to what we are going to do in the overall market going into the end of the year. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. So I hope you guys are having a good evening and I'll see you guys in the next video.